Welcome back to the Next Gen online video tutorial. In this video we're going to go over how to properly document tobacco usage, as well as asking a patient whether or not they have hypertension, diabetes, or coronary artery disease. And all of that can be done right here in this top right hand corner where this configuration button is, and that's this little wheel thing here. So before we enter into the configuration, let's go ahead and review what these symbols mean. Basically, this red exclamation mark here means that the patient does smoke tobacco, does have hypertension, whereas this circle with a line through it means that the person does not have diabetes. And this question mark here can mean one of two things. Either it's unknown whether or not they have coronary artery disease, or it simply hasn't been filled out yet. So we'll go ahead and enter configuration now. And this is where we can fill in the answers to whether or not they have hypertension, diabetes, or coronary artery disease. So I'll go ahead and just switch up those answers so we get a feel for how the symbols change. Once we save and close, we see that we now get new symbols. And the next thing I want to cover is how to properly document tobacco usage. So since I already did one for today's encounter, we see that we have our smoking status filled out and our tobacco use status filled out. And these things right here, you need to see information within these boxes because they're documented for meaningful use purposes. So in order to actually populate information here, you do need to enter into this blue hyperlink tobacco usage. Once you pull up this screen, the main area you have to worry about is tobacco use, this panel here. And the three things you for sure want to get is the answer to this question, have you ever used tobacco? Then come down here to smoking status and fill out what type of smoker they are, and then tobacco use status, what is the type of tobacco that they use. So first things first, we'll go ahead and say yes to a patient having ever used tobacco. Now we have to come down to smoking status and toggle this down here, and we'll just classify them as a heavy tobacco smoker. For tobacco use status, we'll just say that they're a cigarette smoker, and you have quite a bit of options here as far as what you can choose to define a person's tobacco use. But in this case, we'll just say cigarette smoker. And once we have those three things done, we can go ahead and save and close. I just want to point out to you that you can go ahead and tease out of the patient what their tobacco type is, what their usage is per day. So we'll just say, for example, they smoke cigarettes, they use it daily, they smoke about 20 cigarettes per day, and we could have classified it as, instead of 20 cigarettes, 1 pack of cigarettes per day, same thing. And now we can go ahead and save and close. If we were to save and close and then come back to our configuration button, we would see that our tobacco usage was documented here. Now, I'd also like to just point out that one way to get into the tobacco usage was come in the configuration button and then go into the blue hyperlink. Another way to maybe more quickly get there, if you were already in the intake tab, you can just click this blue hyperlink here called tobacco usage, and it'll just bring you straight into this screen for tobacco use. Whereas if you just came to the configuration, then you'd have to come in the tobacco usage screen here that way. So depending on where you are, that's just two ways to get into the tobacco use screen. In summary, this configuration button is mainly used by the MAs when they're doing the vital signs, and this is when they'll go ahead and ask the patient about their tobacco usage, their history of hypertension, diabetes, and coronary artery disease. And just keep in mind that if you wanted to change the answers to any of these, you can just simply come into the configuration button and go ahead and say now they have hypertension, whatever the case may be. Thank you very much.